Life Update 10, Abhiram Chaganti. It is currently 3:02 p.m. on March 9th. Happy Sunday. Can't believe we're at 10 weeks already. It's been going by pretty fast. But again, the idea is to continue these videos indefinitely. I hope that years go on and I have a video every single week, no matter where I am, what I'm doing, or what the circumstances. The one thing that's always going to be consistent is these videos to look back on, whether it's me or kids, peers, whatever. Just documenting has been a priority of mine, and because of that I am getting back on TikTok. I took a brief hiatus because I just really wasn't feeling posting. I had a lot of questions about my image and what I should post about, because if I'm being completely transparent, I don't really feel comfortable giving advice from a position where it sounds like I know it all, because I don't, and I know that. So that's why I had to take a little bit of time to reassess and figure out, okay, I want to make stuff, but I'm not trying to tell people how to live. I'm just trying to share what my experience is, for better or worse, no matter if people take value out of that or not. And that way of thinking, it led me to think of this way, this philosophy, right? So in ethics class, we discuss different ways of looking at life, different philosophies. There's hedonism, desire, satisfaction, egoism, things like that. Basically the guiding principles of how you make decisions and things like that. So I decided I gave this some thought about my own sort of thought process on this, and the framework that I had, and I think it's still somewhat the same, but I came in and I told my professor about this. I described how I thought, and I asked him, do you have a name? Does this have a term? What is this called? And what I told him is I like to think that, so before I go into that, let me explain one of them, right? So hedonism. This is the idea that you should pursue things for the maximum happiness. And when you're guiding people on making decisions, you should diagnose a solution that results in maximum happiness for, I believe, oneself. I'm not completely sure what the distinction is between utilitarianism and hedonism. I feel like they're, for the most part, the same, because utilitarianism is the maximum happiness for the maximum amount of people. I think hedonism is more a individual philosophy, but right, that's the context. So then on the contrary, my belief is pursuing things for the sake, when you're given a given statement that you will go through things that do not result in maximum happiness, given that you understand that and you have faith in that, right, then you should follow suit and be content and actually pursue those different experiences regardless of the emotion that is associated with it. And so, in other words, if that just sounded like a word salad, because it kind of did to me as I was talking, sometimes I just be yapping, bro. But in simple terms, I believe that I want to pursue things and make decisions on the basis of the most stimulus, right? Whichever one stresses you out the most, whichever one makes you think a little harder. One of my boys, he has this girl that he likes, but there's some other girls that he's thinking of taking to a date night, you know what I mean? So he was kind of saying dude, should I go hit her up again? And I told him, I'm I feel yeah, you should, because you should go hit the girl up that you haven't talked to in a minute, because that's where the tension is the strongest, right? Like the stimulus is the greatest, I believe. Like you should assess things based on whether it's good or bad, like how much it excites you. Again, whether it's good or bad. And so that's why I've been this week, and I mean in other weeks too, but it's a more conscious effort. I feel like recently is I've been trying to test a lot. Like, and what I mean by that is I gave this example on my TikTok. So I'm a social at my fraternity, right? And one of the duties I have is to make event decorations for our events. And that includes making banners and stuff. And so usually I have this approach that I take with every banner I make, where I make a design on my iPad, I project it onto a blank canvas, and then I spray paint on the blank canvas. But then the last event we had, the banner I made, I just used masking tape completely. I didn't use any projector, and I made somewhat of a design on my iPad, but I didn't use it at all. It was only a reference, right? It wasn't like put onto the canvas for me to go over. So I used masking tape completely. Now, the motive of that wasn't for the effectiveness or efficiency necessarily, but again, it was for testing purposes, like literally just pursuing things that are more stimulating, right? Because if you think on the flip side, me doing the approach I'm used to, it's normal. It's more like I can just do it without thinking. So I like the idea of doing things, I guess, that like make me think a little harder. Maybe this could be in like taking a different route to your workplace, or, you know, eating a different way for a week and just to see how your body feels and reacts. Just treating everything as a science experiment has been a really fun challenge for me. And I feel like another thing that's on my mind because of like this whole testing thing is like, you know, the stuff I make, right? So this week, it's actually been a culmination of like the past few videos. You guys are, if you watch like my other videos, you'll kind of see this build up, but I'm really getting into a lot of different projects and I find them all really cool. You could call it shiny object, you know, phenomena, I guess. Like, you know, the idea that people will latch on to the next thing and not spend the quality time on one thing. But I really do care about all these things, and I'm really trying to work hard to put my best foot forward in every one. So one of them is, right, this tool I'm trying to build. So it's something that I feel would be useful for solo artists like me. It's like this interactive mood board. And that's been a fun challenge for me because it's like, I don't know anything about coding. So like I have very limited experience. I took a couple of classes, but it doesn't amount to anything sustainable. So I've been using Claude to build this tool, and it's super fun because I think of it like a Prometheus sort of example where it's like humans got fire, and now it's like in the palm of their hand with a lighter, but fire was so valuable and so dangerous almost to like give humans because of how powerful it was. And similarly, I feel the same way about this AI stuff, because like in tech, if you like, because right now, right, in the current climate, the technical skills, like there's lower barriers to entry for those. I could pull up my computer and build something today, tomorrow. And better yet, someone with extensive coding knowledge could leverage these like AI LLMs and make even more effective stuff. But as long as you have the idea, right? And so this feels like a parallel to that fire example where it's like that skill is so valuable and now it's in the palm of my hand, almost like a lighter, like a flame. You know what I'm saying? So that's why it's been super fun for me, because I've never had a shortage of ideas. Like truly, you know? So I'm curious to see where that goes. It's been a lot of troubleshooting. Just literally, I've probably redid the thing like 4 times now. Actually, as we speak, I have to redo it one more time because like I just can't get past this one error. And maybe I need to collaborate. Maybe I need to show someone the code, and like someone way more skilled than me. And yeah. In my other videos, I talked about other designs I'm still working on, so I don't want to talk too much about like all the other things because it would be pretty redundant. But yeah, I want to go harder, you know? Like whenever I tell people I care about how I'm feeling, they tell me to give myself a little more credit. Like I'm doing good. Just like keep focused, like don't stress too much, but I can't help it, you know what I mean? Like there's this one guy that said like he said something along the lines of people are normally like people that feel they're operating at their peak are really probably only at 60%, and that stuck with me for so long because I do feel like that. I feel, because consider, right? If I was at 100%, then I feel like the output would be so much greater. I'm just coming off like my posting hiatus a little bit. And on that point, right? You know how I was talking about, I was thinking of what to post and stuff. I think I'm gonna stay true. I'm gonna like revisit what the original intention was. I mean, bro, I started the TikTok. I mean, I started all these social channels and this sort of documenting process to document. It was never a game of like, oh, let's put a hook on a video, let's create value for the audience methodically. Like, but it turned into that, right? Because that's just how it goes in the pursuit of like growing a page. That's what one thing you fall into, but I don't really like that. I kind of want to go back to how it was, where it was like I was just pulling out my camera and just showing what I was doing. And that's one thing I'm consciously trying to get back into. Like on my Instagram, I really stopped giving a fuck, bro. Whenever I'm thinking too hard about like, should I post this, should I not? Like for example, I just dropped a song last week, right? And I have another song coming out this Friday. That's like 2 songs in 2 weeks. And I was on a long break before that. So basically, like when I'm in these modes of like thinking, should I post this, should I not? I just remind myself, bro, we live one life. Why should I wait? You know what I'm saying? Why should I care? There's actually no point. Someone's watching right now and they have their opinion, and let them, you know what I mean? There's this video on YouTube that keeps popping up on my recommended. I never gave it a full watch, but it's called When an Artist Finally Stops Giving a Fuck. And I watched a little bit of it, but basically the guy was talking about how that is the state of, how would I put it? Like, that's the state that people should pursue. You know, if I were to domain expand that video title, it's not just when an artist finally stops giving a fuck. It's like when people stop giving a fuck, that's when they really explore not only themselves, but they get to, the thing is, bro, is like people all have like kind of, I believe people have like the same, generally the same intentions, right? Like for example, if there's a guy that really likes making stuff, but he's more sheltered about it, but you posting stuff, you'd be surprised, bro. my sister was telling me, she was like, there's this guy that knows you, and he was saying how he had a dream about you and him on a podcast, and he literally said to my sister, like I want to be like him. And that, like, you know what I'm saying? And that only comes from like being outspoken about what you want to do, about what you're doing. Yeah, I don't want to like make these videos too long, bro, because when they get to like 15 minutes, 20 minutes, even I don't want to watch that whole shit. Because one thing I'm really good at, if there's anything, is like talking. If I'm allowed to talk, then I'm just gonna keep on fucking talking. But yeah, other than that, this week, one thing unique about this week for sure is we've been doing a lot of frat recording sessions. So I've been bringing my audio equipment to the frat, and I'll just set it up in the living room, and there will be like 10 of us, 12 of us in there, and we'll just be recording. And those who aren't recording, they're just there vibing and listening to music and shit. And it's been such a great environment, bro. I'm like, you know, seeing these guys that some of like their first times ever rapping on a mic, like ever even hearing themselves with auto-tune, it's a blessing. I mean, dude, to be able to give that to them, because there was a time where, of course, like I had never rapped before, and I was telling one of the dudes a story about how when I worked at Topgolf, there was a guy that was a rapper, and I had never rapped before, and he was like such a great energy in the room whenever, because I was a bar back, right? He was a bartender, so we worked a lot together. And whenever the servers would walk in the bar, like there would always be music playing, right? So they loved him. They were always singing along, and he would always be freestyling. I mean, he has such a great talent for freestyling and making rhymes, and he would always try to get me to rap, and I never took a stab at it. I mean, I did take a stab at it, but I mean, I never took a genuine stab at it because I felt like it wasn't for me. I didn't know how to rap. And trust, bro, in the same way that like a basketball player practices his jump shot, like I believe people need to practice stimulating activities, like deliberate stepping out of their comfort zone. And that's why I really encourage that philosophy of just pursuing stimulating things, right? Like a decision could be bad on the surface. There could be a more optimal decision. Now, there are going to be circumstances where you should pursue the most efficient solution. Like you're running a business. And even that, damn, I can't even say that, because it's like when you're running an ad, right? You want to test different audiences. That like even business is a science experiment. But like in any case, there are going to be times where you'll have the discernment to be like, okay, like I'm going to go about it in a way where I know it's going to get me the best, most efficient, effective outcome. But when you're given the opportunity, that's why I say, like, dude, just test. Even like simply the motive being that you want to yield a new like thing in your mind. You want to yield more stimulus. I mean, stimulus is the best way to put it, because stimulus isn't necessarily saying it's good, necessarily saying it's bad. It's just exciting, like it's triggering. You know what I mean? Yeah, guys, that's it for me. I don't know when I started this video, but it's 3:21 now. And I go home this Friday, so the next video will be back at my crib. I'm so excited because when I go home, I've said this like very clear, is like when I go home, like, bro, shit gets put to work. I'm in the studio. I'm making clothes. I'm making calls. I'm posting my ass off. Like it's just up. You know what I mean? So yeah, I'm excited for that. anyway, that's it for me. And with that being said, Abhiram Chaganty out.